friends, welcome to my channel. Today's video is about data access for users in Oracle Cloud. Assigning data access is very important in Oracle in order to implement data security. Assigning a job role to the user provides access to the specific task. But in order to provide access to the data for that particular task, it is imperative to grant data access to the user. Data security assignments apply data filters to display only the data corresponding to the security assignment values assigned to the users. This feature controls the access of user to various ledgers, business units, etc. Let's see an example. If we have a user who has an accountant job role, so he will be able to access the finance tasks as well as the finance reports. Now, the company has 5 business units and he wants this user to have access to data for only one business unit. Then, for this accountant job role, we need to grant data access for that particular business unit only so that user will be able to access the tax as well as the data for that business unit only. So, this will provide security to the data. Now, in order to navigate and set up data access for users, we have to navigate to setup and maintenance, and then we have to search for the task manage data access for users. So you will be directed to this page, this manage data access for users. So here you can see users with data access and users without data access. So these two radio buttons, you can select any one of these. If you use the first one, users without data access, then the roles, then you will be able to get the user and the particular roles which do not have data access provided. Meanwhile, if you search with users with data access, all the roles which have the particular data access will be shown below. Next is a security context, which we'll see in later session as well. So this is here I have selected all, so all the security context values will be displayed. In a search, we have to give the particular username. You can just click on this list of values and provide the username and click on the search button. So the result will display here in this tab. Then we have something like authorized data access. So if you want to download the data, then you can click on this so that the data will get downloaded in an Excel and you can make any edits in it and then upload it again. If you want to assign any data access, any new data access, then you can use this plus icon, but here you can assign data access one by one. So this is about this manage data access for user screen. Now just a little detail about what are the security contests available for the users. So some of the important ones I have highlighted here. First is asset book, then business unit security access, cost organization, data access set, inventory organization, ledger, as well as a reference data set. These are important security contests to which user will have the access. Now coming to the tables for data access, the first table which I have highlighted, fun user role data assignments. This is the master table where all the data access details for that particular user corresponding to a particular role is stored. So this table will have some important columns. This is the user role ID, then we have the user GUID which will be linked to the per users table. We have the role name, some columns like the start date, the end date, and active flag. Then we have some ID columns, that is a control budget ID, interco org ID, and we have the org ID, ledger ID, book ID, all these things. So corresponding to each security contest which we saw in the previous slide, there will be a ID which will be present in this master table. and this ID, particular ID, needs to be linked to the base table. Like for org ID, there is a base table, and this org ID in this master table needs to be linked to the base table for org ID. Similarly, for ledger ID, the corresponding base table for ledger ID should be linked using this ledger ID value in this master table to get the ledger name. Similarly for book ID as well. Then we have some who columns also. That is object version number, the record type code created by creation date, last updated by last updated date. Now coming to other important tables, that is, as I said, the fun user role data assignments is the master table. Then we have the per users table where all the user information is there. So we need to link the per user table and the master table fun user role data assignments using the user GUID to get the username. Then we have the base tables like GL access sets. Then we have general ledger base table, then business unit base table, then fixed asset book base table, and similarly other base tables are there. So we need to pick up the ID from this master table and join it with the corresponding base table. Like for general ledger, we can join the GL ID with this general ledger the ID in this base table to get the name of the ledger. So here I have a sample query which will be which is can be used for a reference. So if you can see, I have queried the master table, fun user role data assignments table, and also the per users table. So if you can see, in order to get the cost organization, the security context, that is where I want to get the cost organization name. So I have used the base table CST cost orgs v, and here I have linked the cost org ID of this table with the CST organization ID, the cost organization ID of the master table, that is the fun user roles assignment table. Then you can see for business unit, I want to display the business unit name, so I have in a subquery I have used this base table fun all business units v, and the view ID of this base table is linked to the org ID of the master table to get the business unit security context name. Similarly, if you can see for asset book, in order to get the book name, asset book name, I have used the base table FA book controls, and I have linked the book control ID of this table with the book ID of the master table fun user role table to get the book type name. I hope this video was useful for you. Thank you.